Texas A&M expanding its options for women's health care. See more on the one-of-a-kind education. And protests at the border are putting a snag in Texas commerce. Find out why state officials are at odds and how to move forward. Your KRHD News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley. This is KRHD News.
Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Brittany DeFran. Texas A&M Health opened a women's care clinic in mid-January for women of all ages. 25 News reporter Diamond Dixon spoke with their care team to learn more about what the clinic offers. Texas A&M Health opened a Women's Care Plus clinic to provide women with generic care plus mental and wellness initiatives.
Transitioning into focusing on women's care and offering various services, kind of focusing on women's wellness, asking women what it is they want, what the Plus and Women's Care Plus stands for them, and trying to develop a program through Texas A&M where we can expand upon women's services.
Along with the variety of services, there is also a broad range of ages seen in the clinic.
I had, seen one patient starting at age 16, and my oldest patient for the day had been 86. And that's really kind of why I set out to do what I did when I chose what position and what kind of career I wanted to do in medicine.
And serving this variety of an age gap is what brings purpose to Dr. Garrett's work.
One of the things I was looking for was having a variety of context and issues during a day. And so serving women from their young teenage years all the way into menopause and our geriatric population has been really exciting.
Family nurse practitioner Tiffany Wilson shares how their clinic allows women to decide what the future of their wellness looks like.
We're really going to be attuned to your comfort, so whatever you want done, we're going to go with that. We're not going to push anything on you that you don't want to do. We may talk about why something's recommended if you don't want it or vice versa, but really just letting you kind of guide what needs to be done.
You can expect a variety of services at the Women's Care Plus clinic, ranging from women's exams, birth control, aesthetics, and soon-to-be behavioral health services. Reporting in College Station, Diamond Dixon, KRHD News.
A protest blockade by truckers is creating a huge problem at the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas. It's also making for a major bottleneck with long wait times to cross in other places. They, of course, are protesting Governor Greg Abbott's decision to step up inspections that he says are to combat cartels from smuggling drugs or people across the border. Those policies are taking hours as drivers must stop for their new inspections. Some Texas business owners say it's taking out of their bottom line.
There's a large consumption of produce and other commodities. There might not be enough to meet the demand. And at the same time, what's going to happen? Prices are going to go up. The price is going to go up for everything.
It isn't yet clear just how long the truckers are planning to protest. Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller is calling for an end to the enhanced inspections at the border, calling the directive catastrophic, and says it will lead to much higher prices on things coming from Mexico. The commissioner says refrigerated trucks are running out of fuel, waiting in long lines, and entire loads of fresh produce are being spoiled. There's a new battle at the southern border. Truck drivers are protesting new inspections imposed by the governor of Texas, which are causing big backups. The governor says the Biden administration isn't doing enough to secure the border before a migrant surge expected next month. ABC's Ike Iachi has the latest.
This morning, the fight over immigration policy between the state of Texas and the White House is intensifying. Governor Greg Abbott recently ordered commercial trucks coming from Mexico to undergo extra inspections, a move that led to major backups at the border, with some truckers waiting 30 hours to enter the U.S.
They turned us back around. They sent us back because it is blocked.
Truckers protested, setting up blockades like this one in Juarez, and in the process, 18 trucks were burned, apparently by the cartels. Yesterday, Governor Abbott relented. He agreed to ease the inspections at one border crossing, but some of the biggest bottlenecks have been elsewhere. This morning, the White House calls it all a publicity stunt.
These actions are impacting people's jobs and the livelihoods of hardworking families in Texas.
The new policy in Texas comes in response to the Biden administration lifting Title 42, the Trump-era public health order that allowed Border Patrol to turn away illegal migrants to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The CDC is ending Title 42 next month, prompting concern in Texas and other border states about a looming surge of migrants. Governor Abbott already responding by giving migrants free bus rides from Texas to Washington, D.C. The first bus arrived in the Capitol yesterday, and the White House sarcastically thanked Abbott.
These are all migrants who have been processed by CBP and are free to travel, so it's nice the state of Texas is helping them get to their final destination.
Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
An Aggie couple is expanding their foundation with a new program to provide support program to organ donor families. Taylor's Gift was created by Aggie alumni Tara and Todd Storch after their 13-year-old daughter Taylor died in a skiing accident in 2010. Upon her death, the Storch family donated Taylor's organs, which went on to save and improve the lives of 5 people. The foundation was created later in 2010. Now the foundation is expanding with the recent launch of the Kindred Hearts program, which provides support groups led by trained facilitators, as well as caring guides, which focus on individual and family support.
All of our caring guides and all of our trained facilitators for our support groups have had personal experience with grief. So they can relate to that pain of what the family is going through. And many of them have been touched by organ donation themselves. So, our Kindred Hearts program is really there for all donor families, organ and tissue families.
Kindred Hearts launched in December 2021, and since then, Taylor's Gifts has partnered with the NYU School of Medicine in a pilot program to conduct more research into helping organ and tissue donor families.
With a tight job market right now, some employers are changing how they do background checks. In addition to the initial background check, they're adding what's called continuous monitoring. Now, these are regular checks of court records that happen after you've been hired.
Employees, I think, are increasing their expectation for safety and security across the board. And as a result of that, I think you see a lot of organizations that are trying to make sure that they're putting solutions in place to help support that.
Tom Miller with Clear Force works with employers who say they're adding continuous monitoring as they work to do more second chance hiring. Now that means hiring people with a criminal record. This impacts an estimated 70 million Americans. He says how long continuous monitoring lasts varies by company and industry.
Most importantly, they want to be able to provide environments where they can pick up on indications that would be helpful to them to get assistance to individuals that need assistance, to be able to really save and retain employees.
But some attorneys are questioning the need for additional monitoring.
Say you have hired someone and you know that they have a criminal record, and you are an employer who is interested in second chances and has looked at the data and thought, oh, this person could be a good employee. Then I don't know that someone whose performance has been good using a continuous monitoring check. Do you really want to fire someone if their performance has been exactly what you need?
Ariel Nelson with the National Consumer Law Center says she's concerned about the errors that can come up in background checks, like mismatched or incomplete records. Also, the research showing Black Americans are arrested more often and may face disparities in the criminal justice system.
When we're relying on criminal records, we know who it's going to impact the most. And I think it's really important that we don't separate the issues between these background checks and the problems with our criminal justice system when we look at these issues.
Now, Miller says companies should be focusing on eliminating bias and discrimination in any continuous monitoring program they put into place. A growing number of pro athletes are turning to cannabis for pain relief as an alternative to opioids. There's currently little research on the benefits, but Amanda Brandeis shows us how the NFL is now investing in new research in hopes to understand more.
In America's favorite sport, pain is part of the game.
Probably close to 70% of the NFL players are exposed to opioids through the course of their career, and many of them remain on opioids. Been doing pain medicine for 30 years, and I've seen the negative effects of the opioids and what they've done.
Dr. Mark Wallace has spent 2 decades studying cannabis as an alternative.
I've taken hundreds and hundreds of patients off of opioids with cannabis.
At the forefront of advancing medicinal cannabis science, his team at UC San Diego is now being recruited by the NFL.
It's not a secret that many of the NFL players are using cannabis. I mean, many elite athletes are using cannabis, and they report anecdotally that it helps them recover faster, and they prefer it over using an opioid.
With grant money from the NFL, they're studying the potential benefits and side effects of using cannabis for post-game injuries. Most evidence today looks at its use for chronic pain.
The NFL, they say it's hard for them to throw support to something that has absolutely no evidence. So they've taken the leap to provide the funding to look for some evidence.
Relaxing its rules on cannabis, the league no longer suspends players who test positive for marijuana. And in the off-season, they're not tested for the drug at all. But they won't be allowed to participate in this study. Researchers instead recruiting professional rugby players.
A lot of the rugby players are more than willing to participate. They're looking for an answer too.
Wallace says proper dosage is critical.
We've learned how to dose it. We've come a long way, because if you don't dose it right, you can actually make the patients worse. You can worsen their pain. But if you dose it right, you can improve sleep, improve mood, reduce pain.
Using a handheld vaporizer, injured athletes will get up to 4 doses of cannabis a day. But league-wide changes are likely still far off, in part because the drug is still illegal under federal law.
They understand it is a Schedule II drug that has varying state laws. We're hoping that this will lead to larger studies within the NFL.
I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
Amanda, thank you for that. And the NFL grant supports 2 years of research, and researchers will begin working with rugby players in January. They hope to have new data by the end of next year.
It has been a sunny day here across the Brazos Valley as all the clouds are pushed away for now. I do think they return tomorrow. May not see a lot of rain as we head into tomorrow, but as we make our way into Saturday and Sunday, it looks like an isolated storm threat will exist. It shouldn't be a washout, though. Clouds and radar showing that we will be seeing, again, clear skies as we head into your Thursday evening. A lot of folks taking off for Friday, for Good Friday around here. So things should be pretty good over the next 24 hours as we don't have any major storm systems rolling our way. So let's check out our future track showing that clouds will likely be rolling back in by Friday morning. We may see a little bit of sunshine out there, but I do think it stays mostly cloudy. That showed a few showers, maybe an isolated shower or two, but we're going to keep rain chances about 20% through the day Friday. No thunderstorm activity, though, so that's good news. And then as we move into Saturday, again, some drizzle possible in the morning, mostly cloudy skies. We can probably count on that for Easter Sunday as well. So it's going to be hard to get some those sunrise services to maybe even see the sunrise, as we will have mostly cloudy skies each morning this weekend, and then partly to mostly cloudy skies Saturday afternoon. Probably going to be pretty quiet around here. There could be an isolated storm or two, though, both Saturday and Sunday afternoons. So tonight, temperatures will be into the upper 50s and lower 60s. It should be pretty pleasant out there in the morning. And then here come more 80s at us as we head into tomorrow. Low to mid 80s, should be feeling pretty good around here. And looking at your forecast, we'll go 83 Friday, 84 on Saturday. Isolated thunderstorms possible. Then as we move into Sunday, we'll go a 30% chance on Easter. You got to get your Easter egg hunts in, but we may have to dodge a couple of thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon and evening hours. Monday and Tuesday, isolated storms will be possible.
It's getting more expensive to be in debt, and older Americans are feeling it the most. Since the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates to offset inflation, credit card debt has been growing the most for people over 70. The Senior Citizens League reports nearly half of older Americans say it's because they've had to spend all of their emergency savings. Americans over 70 owe a collective of $380 billion in credit card debt. That's more than triple the amount in 2010. With all the ways inflation is impacting our lives and our wallets, we're looking at what you can be doing right now to protect your money. Vanessa Mashanya has that help from economists.
Because of inflation, buying anything right now kind of feels like walking into a casino, sitting down at a slot machine, and just watching your money disappear. And while shopping strategy may not necessarily hit you a jackpot, I did speak with an economist who said it can save you a significant amount of money.
Just spend your money faster. The stuff that you need to buy it immediately.
That was Scott Chu. He's a macroeconomist and professor at West Virginia University. Now, spending your money quickly may sound like the exact opposite thing you want to be doing right now, but inflation is at a 40-year high. And he tells me that prices are rising so quickly that, say, waiting until the end of the month to do your shopping will definitely end up costing you more.
You also have to be careful because you don't want to overspend and get to the end of the month and then have to put things on credit cards. But at least you can save 1 month of inflation by buying stuff sooner.
And that new large appliance like a dishwasher or a fridge that you were planning on putting off?
If inflation stays high, maybe that thing I was going to buy a year or two from now, I ought to think about finding a way to buy it now.
Something else Shu told me to consider is buying in bulk. Sure, buying the one roll of toilet paper is much cheaper than buying the pack of 20, but each roll in that 20 pack is much cheaper than that one. So it's going to last you a long time and save you a lot of money in the long run.
Find some ways to buy larger amounts so that my per unit cost over a longer period of time is going down. That also helps offset some of this inflation.
Times are so out of whack right now that used car values are increasing. The price of an average used car at the end of last year was $28,000. That's up 28% from 2020 and up 42% from 2019. And Shu says that it could be a good idea for some of us to sell our cars right now.
It's kind of like sell high and buy low. Shifting from a used car, a good used car that's really desirable and could get you a good return that you'll probably never see again, and leverage that into purchasing a newer car is a nice budgeting play.
Just a few things to think about so the next time you spend some money it doesn't quite feel so much like a losing bet. I'm Vanessa Mashani reporting.
Excellent report there, Vanessa. Thank you so much for that. Finally, in our lineup, we're looking into how shelter animals end up with labels like aggressive and unadoptable when they're far from that. What can be done to change this and bring down euthanasia rates?
Very mean, very can't handle him, buddy. You're gonna fall.
Oh, meet Hendrix, a dog in Riverside, California, who was labeled as too aggressive to find a home and instead was set to be euthanized. Our partners at Newsy found he's one of many animals that get labeled this way, even though, as you can see, it's not accurate.
You slap a label on a dog in the most traumatizing day of their life and leave it on them for over a month, and then they die because of it.
The Best Friends Animal Society, a national nonprofit, reports in 2019 shelters euthanized 625,000 cats and dogs. In 2020, that number was nearly cut in half, but only because of how high adoption rates were during lockdown. Staffing at shelters plays a big role in this. There often are not enough workers spending time with the animals that can update their label after they arrive. Nationally, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports median pay for an animal care worker is only $26,000 a year. That's below the poverty line for a 4-person household. There's also a lack of fundings from local governments across the country. Riverside, for example, slashed its budget this year for the Animal Services Department by $700,000. But money isn't the only issue.
What we need to do now, however, is continue to look at these best practice programs, things like intake intervention programs. How do we support people so they don't have to relinquish their pets? Programs like trap, neuter, return, where we're taking our community cats living out in our neighborhoods and fixing them, sterilizing them, and putting them back out rather than rounding them up.
In addition, the Best Friends Animal Society is also encouraging shelters nationwide to up their pay. As for Hendrix, he's now training to become a search and rescue dog so he can save others. 1 in 5 eligible workers is not claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit. It's leaving millions of dollars in tax refunds unclaimed across the country. Tomorrow, the free resource that can show